I'm Big Dub. That's Rufus. And here are our top 5 Super 7 figures of 2022. When you were young, you played with toys. You held them in your hands and you touched it. And now as an adult, you've got man hands. Well, Super 7 gives you big toys for your big man hands. Top 5 Super 7. So yes, welcome to the top 5 Super 7 of 2022 from me, Big Dub. Kicking off our end of the year things. We're watching this on a Tuesday and filming it same day. We're going to try to get into some top 5 Tuesdays for the remainder of the year. We're going to go through some of my favorite toy lines, figures. We're going to talk about peg warmers and then overall figures of the year, maybe some other things. And this is the type of video I think we'll do some more of next year too. So let's talk about my top 5 Super 7. Now, talk about what's eligible. Pretty simple rules. In years past in my awards, I've had some complicated rules, can't be repaints and so forth. I think this year it's just basically, did I get it in the year and was it released somewhat close in the year? So some people get things like in December. So right now, as you're watching this, Thanksgiving time, December, sometimes some people get toys early, some people get them later, depending on who you get it from. So if it arrives for me in the calendar year and not like an old thing I picked up, then it's eligible. And then I'll rank it. So this is all Super 7 as a toy line for this because they don't have enough releases in individual lines necessarily to constitute its own list. But this year there was a lot. The last year and really the year before, Super 7 were pretty throttled. I don't even remember when the first Super 7 TMNT Ultimates showed up, or the first Ultimates period. Which, I got that Voltron Ultimates pretty early, the Toxie Ultimates, Conan Ultimates. Ultimates is not a super long line since it's been called Ultimates. It's just the last 4 or 5 years, and I have a great deal of them. I like the Super 7 line very much. It is my Super 7 TMNT, spoiler alert, probably my favorite line of the year. And that's because I have such nostalgia for the actual toys of TMNT, the actual toys themselves. So when you think about nostalgia, you have different things. For me, for the toys, Ninja Turtle, the Playmates Ninja Turtle toys were the number one thing I played with as a kid. I love Transformers, nostalgic for Transformers, but it isn't for the toys. It's for the animation because we couldn't afford the toys. So you've seen, if you've watched the channel for many years, I go back and forth, and sometimes I get some Transformers and then I don't like them. I never really had them. So the kind of clunky and the mechanics and the engineering, I don't think they look great, displayed. It's just not something that I have that much nostalgia for. The animation Turtles, I certainly have nostalgia for, but I have more for the toys. Thundercats, it's animation. We didn't have many of those toys growing up here and there. G.I. Joe, it's both, because that is a toy line that we could afford, so I had a bunch of G.I. Joe. That's why you don't see me with many vehicles, because we couldn't afford those. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for that. So Super 7 really, especially with the Turtles line, hits a sweet spot for me, if you know my story. So I really appreciate them, and they're not a perfect company. They've had a lot of issues getting stuff out. They have significant delays. I feel like they communicate a little better. They have a pre-order status page that's always sitting there on their website, so you can learn where things are at, but they're not great about it either. Nobody is anymore, it feels like. We don't have a lot of transparent companies. But I love what they make. And so for eligibility this year, and I'll probably put some pictures up, I think we've got the Turtles line starting with Wave 4, where Donatello came out. It completed the original Turtles. Then we've gotten Wave 5 recently and Wave 6 recently. 4, 5, and 6 this year. So 3 lines of Turtles. Plus we've had the Entertainment Earth Mutagen exclusive. We've had the New York Comic Con Muckman exclusive. We've had a glow-in-the-dark Foot Soldier that isn't out yet, that is apparently about to ship pretty soon. Come on, Rufus, you can come join me. It's Rufus's birthday today as we're filming this video. You'll see that on an upcoming Life of the Dubs. You can't be right there. They can't see me, buddy. That glow-in-the-dark Foot Soldier won't make this list, so I'm filming this before I get it. I don't think it's going to wow me so much. And then there was the Big Bad Toy Store Undercover Raph exclusive. So like 15 or so, 16 figures, because there was the Mouser pack, 16 different releases from Super 7 Ninja Turtles. With Thundercats, we had Wave 2, Wave 3, and Wave 4, as well as the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Frozen Lion-O. So that's 13 figures from that wave. We've had let's see, the Transformers Wave 1 have come out. That's 4 figures there. We've had the Disney Wave 1. I collect that. And we're only talking about the waves I collect. 3 figures from that wave. We've had the first G.I. Joe figure come out, the Bat, which was the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, the comic version of the Bat. That has released. And I don't think... Oh, there were 2 new Conan figures that came out. Just looking around the room here, I think that's about it from the lines I collect. They also had a lot of band figures come out, like music figures, rock bands. They've had The Worst come out. I don't collect that line, though. I might pick it up if it gets on sale. So a lot of potential IPs that are eligible, but you'll see that it's going to be pretty focused on one line, as you can imagine. So let's get started with our top 5 Super 7 figures of 2022. Coming in as an honorable mention, it is the only spoiler non-Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure, and that is the Thundercats from Wave 2, Mum-Ra the Ever-Living, that comes with Monmouth. Now, this figure is excellent. It's excellent. It's huge. There have been a lot of quality control issues. Wave 2 of Thundercats came after Wave 4, so it went like 4, 3, 2, I think is what happened, if I remember right. The story of that wave, from what we're led to believe, is that they had it at a factory. Mattel put in a big Jurassic World order, and they pushed the Super 7 wave to the end of the line. It took them forever. They were held up by the factory and so forth. It makes that wave pretty challenging because there are a number of quality control issues, and they don't seem to have a way to deal with that. So they had issues with that factory and that wave, and so I know some people got incorrect pieces. That's disappointing. I think Super 7 is trying to fix it, but in some cases I don't think they have the parts. But that's my favorite of the Thundercats line so far, the great big Mum-Ra the Ever-Living. I never had a Mum-Ra figure. He towers above the rest of the Thundercats. He looks good, and I think he was deserving of being mentioned, even though he didn't make it in the top 5 figures of the year. So honorable mention from the Thundercats line, Mum-Ra the Ever-Living. Now, number 5 in our Super 7 Turtles figures, which is what the rest of this video is going to be, because, spoiler, it's all Turtles the rest of the way. So my number 5 figure of 2022 from Super 7 is the Sewer Samurai Leonardo. I believe this is Wave 5. I believe it is Wave 5. I'm not going to keep saying that because I think I'm going to forget which one is which, but I believe it is Wave 5. I think this figure looks awesome. Now, this wave, if you've watched videos, if you collect this line, notoriously has QC issues. And unfortunately, that's been a problem with Super 7 in these recent releases. But this is, the joints are very wobbly. They're very loose. You probably need to use some shock oil. I haven't had to do anything like that. I've had no problem posing them and keeping them in a pose in the collection, but they are definitely loose. That's just really, really unfortunate that they're so loose. But for me, like, articulation and joint issues, unless they just do the splits and fall over no matter what, you know, I don't like it. I think companies should do better and fix it, but it doesn't devastate me because, honestly, I take pictures of them, and then I put them on the shelf, and then I really don't move them. I'm not showing you them right now because I've taken them all down for all these videos I'm going to do would just cause calamity, and I don't want to do that. They got them up there where I want them, and I want to leave them there. So he does have some loose joints, and that probably puts him lower on the list than he should be. This was a toy I loved as a kid, played with quite a bit, and I think this is a really nice interpretation. It comes with a ton of weapons, ton of accessories, and the alternate portrait looks really cool, where he's like wearing the whatever style, the Asian ninja, whatever, shogun, samurai, whatever it is, style mask with the gold teeth and everything. I think it's really good. I really enjoy this figure. Comes in at number 5. Number 4, Super 7 figures of the year. One I just opened up recently. This comes from Wave 6, and it is Ace Duck. Ace Duck from Wave 6. I think Wave 6 is probably the best wave of figures that Super 7 has put out so far. Of any of their waves. The whole wave was great. And Ace Duck I love very much. I have no issues with mine, no QC issues. It looks good. I was able to get the wings in with no issue. I just heated up the hole a little bit with some hot water, got the wings in. I love the accessories he comes with. I love the alternate head that has the cigar and like the flight goggles and the flight cap. I think that looks really cool. I love it that they give us Rufus. buddy. He's just not interested in filming this. He's like, it's my birthday, Dad. Why are we doing this? I gotta finish for the people, and then we're gonna go play. I promise. So I like the alternate head. I like it that they give you kind of their unique take of a head sculpt with these recent releases. In the first wave, it was more of a animation style versus toy style is the way I interpret it. So like if you had the weird shredder that had the painted eyebrow, they'd give you that head and a regular shredder head. With the more recent releases, they're giving you just like a modern take, which I like. So coming in at number 4, Ace Duck from Wave 6. Number 3, one of the older figures on this list from the beginning of the year, and he was high in my top 10 mid-year countdown of all figures. From Wave 4 is Casey Jones. And I think this figure is wonderful. I mean, honestly, it's a little surprising that it's finishing at number 3. I thought it may remain my number 1 figure of the year all year, but just some other ones have been really, really good. And I really, really like this Casey Jones figure. I think it looks exactly the way that as a kid we thought this figure looked. And if you compare it, it has some slight differences, but it's really just a big modern version of the Casey Jones figure that we played with kids, which I know is a favorite for most kids. You know, having the mask on and the different weapons, and a lot of those, the baseball bat, the golf club, the hockey stick, those are things that we could find in our garage and go play with, or we could use sticks and act like we were Casey Jones. And that was really, really fun to do as a kid and as an adult, depending on what you do. And I think this figure's a perfect representation. I love the colors on it. I think it's perfect. I think it's a perfect figure. So that is from Wave 4. Number 3 is Casey Jones. The number 2 Super 7 figure of 2022, very close to being number 1. Probably is the best overall figure, in my opinion. But it comes also from Wave 6, and that is Slash. It's just awesome. It's a huge, heavy, weighty figure. Fun to play with, fun to move around, comes with a ton of accessories. I know some folks think it's a touch too dark. That doesn't bother me. I'm also not sure that that's correct. Just recently, I saw a Slash with at Retro Toy Con, and the colors look pretty doggone close to what this Super 7 figure looks like. But he comes with tons of stuff, an extra head sculpt. Again, very, very, very heavy, weighty figure. You can pose him up, you can have fun with him. He photographs really well. I think it's a great figure. Honestly, it probably is the better figure of all these figures. He's not going to be number 1, as you see, but he is out of Wave 6. Wave 6, a strong wave that had Slash, had Ace Duck, it had Scratch. Oh, what did it have? The Mousers, and it had one other. What am I forgetting? I'm looking at the pile right here. Scratch, Ace Duck, Slash. Rufus is just squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. What else did I have? Oh, Sewer, Surf, and Michelangelo. Also an awesome figure. Didn't quite make the list of top 5. Probably was sitting right outside number 6. I think that's that wave, Wave 6. If you're just going to pick up a wave, you don't care about complete teams, you just want to have a few turtles, that's the wave to look at. They're sitting out right now. Again, I pre-order Super 7 stuff because I want to support the line. They are expensive at $55. They do get down. I think right now in Entertainment Earth, they have some for like $25. They get cheap. Watch out on Black Friday. I bet you'll be able to find some Super 7 turtles really cheap. I encourage you to pick one up. I understand that price point isn't for everybody. Do I think it's overpriced? Yeah, I do. But, you know, certain things, it's right in the sweet spot. It's a thing we want, and we're willing to pay to have it. Which, like if you watch Century, you heard him talk about with the most recent Mattel crowdfunding for the Eternia. Everybody knows it's overpriced, but they wanted it, so they buy it. And, you know, is that good for the future of toy lines? Probably not. But, you know, when you got nostalgia involved, you don't really make those rational decisions too well. Anyway, number 2 is Slash. You're ready to celebrate your birthday, aren't you? All right, let's do it. The number 1 overall figure of the year for Super 7 Ninja Turtles, but across all Super 7 for me, comes out of Wave 5. If you watch Life of the Dubs, it shouldn't be a surprise to you, and it is Ray Fillet. Now, that figure is one that I have an especial fondness for. I told the story on Life of the Dubs, but it's the first thing that I can remember my dad hunting for me, trying to find the original Playmates Ray Fillet, and going out to multiple stores. And in my mind, you know, as a little kid, I was probably 7 or 8 years old. As a little kid, he may have went to 2 stores and it took an hour, but it took him 3 weeks in my mind, right? He went to 42 Walmarts or Targets, or it wasn't Target back then, Kmart, Toys R Us, KB Toys, whatever it was, to find this. And he finally found it for me. And so it has a really special meaning to me. Now, a lot of people don't like Ray Fillet. I mean, in the comic, he was almost, or not the comic, but the cartoon, he almost looked naked in the way he was displayed. I don't think NECA's going to make a cartoon version. They were making an Archie Comics version. But this figure, I just remember, they had a color changing effect. You could find 2 different colors on his chest, little variants. Didn't know any of that until I was an adult. And the color changing effect, I certainly knew because I played with him a lot in the bathtub, swam around. He was the champion of my Fig Fed. And I think this modern version is perfect. Has an alternate kind of like big old teeth out face. Comes with a lot of accessories. His little buddy is painted and looks great. And I always love it when the Turtles figures give us the little buddies. And he's just a really fun figure. And playing with it, opening it, taking pictures brought back such nostalgia. And that's what this line is for me. If I think about the other lines, the Conan stuff, I guess I like it. I don't have super nostalgia for the Conan, the Arnold stuff, but I like it. I'm a swords and sorceries guy, fantasy guy. I like, certainly, I've got the Super 7 Snake Mountain Motu stuff. I have some Super 7 Motu, some Matty Classics. The Disney stuff I'm picking up because, like, the Robin Hood we have nostalgia for. That line isn't very good so far. Hopefully it gets better. I don't have my Wave 2 yet, but it's in my pile of loot. The Transformers line, again, nostalgia for the animation. Those figures aren't great. I would encourage you to pick them up if they go on clearance. The G.I. Joe line, I'm very excited for. I think next year some of those are going to be on this wave. I think next year G.I. Joe will be what this year for Turtles and Thundercats were, where we're going to get like 3 or 4 waves all in a year. Because Wave 1 has been imminent for a very long time, like 3 months. And it still may show up for the end of the year, but it's not going to count for me for this year. Toxic Crusader, same thing. A lot of nostalgia for, but not the high level. Silverhawks are coming. Power Rangers are coming. And that stuff all has varying forms of nostalgia for me, and Super 7 really speaks to me. So I like what they do. Do they have their shortcomings? Absolutely. Is their price point high? Absolutely. It's a boutique small company, but they're making unique things. They put a lot in their boxes. Their packaging looks awesome. Really great display. Tons of accessories. You don't get shortchanged. You just maybe don't get exactly what you feel like you want. I think in terms of value for what you pay, it's not NECA. It's not Super 7. It's certainly not Hasbro. It's not Mattel. I think Figuarts right now is probably the best because they're putting out some $35 figures. It's hard. It's hard to determine value right now when everything's gotten more expensive. But for me, nostalgia is a thing I pay for. It's a thing a lot of us pay for. And they hit the sweet spot. And that Ray Fillet is my #1 figure of the year for Super 7. So we're going to be doing top 5 every Tuesday. You may get a couple bonus episodes along the way. We're going to go through our different favorite lines. We're going to do Figuarts. We're going to do NECA. We're going to do miscellaneous, like all other. In fact, NECA's probably going to be broken up by cartoon line, then maybe the comic line. I don't know how I'm going to break that up necessarily. But you'll get to see a lot of my favorite things over the next several Tuesdays before we get to the end of the year as we wind down #BeatUpFit. So if you haven't used #BeatUpFit, please do. Enter to win. Tell me a positive thing that you've done for yourself. Say, I have helped my mental health by doing this. I've helped my physical health by doing this. Or I've helped someone else by doing this generous act. All of that would be appreciated. And if you leave that in the comments of this video, you get entered to win prizes at the end of November, which is coming right up. So certainly do that if you're interested. All right, that's it for this Top 5 Tuesday. We'll see you the rest of the week. We got a lot of content coming for you this week. Hope you enjoy. We'll talk to you next time. Rufus, give us a squeeze it. Give us a squeeze it, buddy.
Squeeze it!